as if from matter's plinth and viewless base, matter's plinth and viewless base. Now, these are two things. You see, in one line he has put so many things. Matter's plinth and viewless base. Matter itself is a plinth. Below the plinth, there is a viewless base. Matter itself is a plinth. On the matter's plinth is erected this whole cosmos, but below the matter there is a viewless base. To a top as viewless. So there is a viewless base, there is a viewless top. And matter is only forming the first layer, the plinth, the foundation layer. On that the building, the structure will be constructed, you see, on the matter, you see. Now, what is the viewless base? The utter void. The inconscience, we like to call. The viewless base, you can't see the void, it is there. Viewless base is the void. To a top as viewless, you can't see the top, the superconscience, the words of Satchidananda. When the words of Satchidananda are there, the words of the void are here. In between is this entire hierarchy of worlds. Between the inconscience and the superconscious is this entire hierarchy. Viewless base, viewless top. Between these two is standing, this mountain chariot is climbing up that, you see. Is a mountain, you see, or these bhuvanas are present there, you see. As if from a matter, as if, he says, as if because it is not really matter. There is something else below matter. There is something else below the viewless base also. It is on that something else who is there at the very, very, very bottom. The Divine Himself at the bottomest place. From that, the whole thing is. Therefore, as if it looks as if it is coming from matter, but no. There is the Divine down below. There is a Divine up there. Everywhere, you see. As if from matter's plinth and viewless base to a top as viewless, a carved sea of worlds. Seas of worlds. Now he says sea. And now you see what a combination of phrases. Carved sea of worlds. See many worlds in essence. Many worlds. Full of oceans. Carved sea of worlds. Climbing with foam and waves to the supreme. Because it is a sea, therefore the foam waves are climbing up like that. Climbing with foam-made waves to the supreme, to the topmost part, supreme, even perhaps beyond Satchidananda. Ascended towards breadth immeasurable, ascended towards breadth immeasurable. It hoped to soar into the ineffable reign, ineffable, into the unknowable, even beyond Satchidananda. It hoped, wants to go and touch the unknowable also, you see. It hoped to soar into the ineffable reign. 100 levels raise it on to the unknown. So, to the unknown, that is Satchidananda. Up to that point is the unknown. Unknown stands here for the Satchidananda. So, 100 levels. So, from matter's plane down below to Satchidananda, there are as if 100 layers, 100 levels raised to the unknown. So, the hierarchy of worlds is really without any count. One above the one, one above the other, one above the other. They keep on climbing all the while. Now, as if from matter's plane and viewless base to a top as viewless. Viewless base and viewless top. In the Rigveda, it is said that his feet and his head are not seen. You do not see his feet, you do not see his head. Apad, ashirsha, apat, pad means feet, apad, as if there are no feet, apad. Ashirsha, as if he has no head. Apad, ashirsha, you see that, you see. So this is that kind of a thing. Now, you cannot see the top, you cannot see the bottom also, see. Apad, ashirsha, apat, without feet, means without feet does not mean that there are no feet. It means that the feet cannot be seen. Ashirsha, it does not mean that there is no head. It means that the head is not seen at all, you see. Apad. So that is the description what we have got in the Rig Veda. So it is here, the word pile is like that. Apad, ashirsha. You cannot see its top, superconscious. You cannot see this inconscience at all, you see. As if from matter's plinth and viewless base to a top, as viewless, a carved sea of worlds, climbing with foam and wave the supreme, ascended towards the breath. Actually, this whole ascending measure is there. The mountain is there and you are ascending. So the image of mountain is persistent here, climbing up here. Actually, in the Rig Veda, there is a constant description of the ascending slopes of heaven. He says, ascending slopes of heaven. The soul's journey is on the ascending slopes of heaven. So these are the ascending slopes of heaven. The soul's journey, spiritual journey, its aspiration is on the ascending slopes of heaven. Ascended towards best immeasurable, it hoped to soar into the ineffable terrain. 100 levels raised it to the unknown. Well, here 100 is symbolically, means many. Here does not mean exactly 100 counts. It means many, innumerable, countless levels are there going all the way up to the unknown. See, we know only very broadly 7 levels. Matter, life, mind, supermind, Satchit, Ananda. We know only 7 in a broad way, but the whole hierarchy, in between, there are layers and layers. All those details we don't mention at all. We speak only very broadly, you see. See, between our mind and supermind, already there are 4 layers. Shivananda has described higher mind, illumined mind, intuition, overmind. So already there are so many layers in between. So like that, between life and mind, between matter and life, there are so many layers. It's not suddenly one transition to the other, you see. So it towered up to heights intangible and disappeared in the hushed conscious vast. The whole world pile is rising up and disappearing into conscious vast, brahat, conscious, hushed, silent, conscious, brahat, inwards into Satchidananda, in the vastness, in the whiteness, you see, Satchidananda, has climbed a storied temple tower to heaven. Now he is giving a kind of a simile. Climbed a storied temple tower to heaven. See these gopurams you see in the South Indian temple, what majesty! Srirangam, if you go there and see that whole gopuram, it's absolutely marvelous. Layer above layer, and such symmetry, such perfection, such beauty, grandeur, majesty in those gopurams, you see. Now these are the expression of the aspiring soul of man. When you are building up such a tower, or when you are building up a church spire, it is the expression of the aspiring soul of man, you see. So it towered up to heights intangible, then disappeared in the hushed conscious world. Disappeared because the top is viewless, you see. He said, top is viewless. Into the hush of conscious one has climbed the story temple tower to heaven, built by the aspiring soul of man to live near to his dream of the invisible. His man's dream is to approach what is not seen, what is not seeable, to the invisible. Therefore, the climbing up is there, the story is there, the temple tower is there, Gopuram is there. Gopuram is really a very majestic structure, and they built up, I don't know what kind of engineering, architecture they had, and what kind of technology they had to raise all those masses up there like that, and disappeared in the hushed conscious one as climbs the story temple tower to heaven, bathed by the aspiring soul of man, near to his dream of the universe. Now, the temple tower is built by man, but not his world tile, not his world pile, you see. But the similarity is to make it tangible, that world pile. Well, look, it is like a Gopuram. You are climbing up that, you see. Infinity calls to it as dreams and climbs. Its spire touches the apex of the world, spire, the church spire, climbing up goes. Infinity calls to it as it dreams and climbs. Its spire touches the apex of the world, mounting into great voiceless stillness, mounting into great voiceless stillness, calm, stillness. It married the earth to screen eternity. So, this temple tower, this aspiration, this climbing up is actually to put earth in contact with eternity. To put earth in contact with eternity, marries earth to eternity. That is the purpose. In other words, this world pile, this Gopuram, this spire is actually built, is there to put the soul of man directly in contact with eternity. See? That is the purpose of this world pile. Amid the many systems of the one, made by an interpreting creative joy. Now, these many systems are a part of the creative joy. Alone, it points us to our journey back. Now, amid the many systems of the one, this is a little difficult line. I mean, there is no difficulty in the language there, but in concept, in thought, it's a kind of a difficult line. You see. Amid the many systems of the one, what it means is, one guess, one hazard, is that this world pile is only one among many. This world pile, what you see here, is but one. There are many systems of the one, many other types of creation possible in Satchidananda. We are here describing, we are here trying to live, we are trying to understand and grasp what our system is. But that does not mean that there are no other systems. Our system is an evolutionary system. But evolutionary system is not the only one possible way for Satchidananda to express itself. Satchidananda can express itself in many, many ways in its own joy. Now, what those could be, well, that knowledge is not given, but the possibility is there. We can't say that Satchidananda is locked only with one type of system, that is evolutionary. We can't say that Satchidananda is locked only with evolutionary process. He can express many things in many ways. The whole cosmos is there, and each one has its own way of expressing its own joy in a different way, which need not be necessarily evolutionary. evolutionary things happen on the earth, but in the sky there are stars and stars and stars, and millions and millions and millions of objects are there. Each one will have its own way of expressing Satchidananda characteristics, you see. Each one will have its own way, you see. Now, those are the many systems. Now, what that could be, of that no idea is given, but one can at least imagine that there is a possibility of something else being present there. For instance, the world of the gods in Satchidananda, they have their own way of doing things, their own approach of doing all that thing. Satchidananda, the gods in the Satchidananda, they are different. Now, they are not necessarily locked tight only to evolution. Our system is an evolutionary system.